Hey everybody, it's good to be here this Sunday, starting our first month of podcast, coming from having a 6-year radio show on FM News Talk 97.1. We've switched over to podcasts here, starting here in January, and this is our third week of doing podcasts. Today I'm doing the podcast on my own. I do normally have someone in with me, and next week I will have Roger here. I can't really say in the studio because we're not in the studio anymore, but I'll have Roger here in the office, and together we'll be doing a podcast next week. But for this week, the show will be in regards to hitting a plateau and all the types of things that I hear on a regular basis where people honestly wholeheartedly feel like they've genuinely hit a weight loss plateau or just a general plateau with their health and improving their health. And I'm going to kind of talk through all the reasons and different cliches that kind of come up when it comes to situations like that, and just the types of things that I've heard over the years, and really what you want to look for if you potentially have hit a plateau. This podcast is sponsored by O'Fallon Nutrition, o'fallonnutrition.com. O'Fallon Nutrition has been the company that I've worked with for supplements for many years. They've been in business for over 15 years, and they're independently owned and operated here in O'Fallon, Missouri. One of the reasons why I started using O'Fallon Nutrition was for years I worked with some of the local supplement companies, and I would send my clients out to get glutamine, let's say, for example, and they would be sent home with a pre-workout that had arginine and caffeine and creatine and just a bunch of stuff that I didn't want them to take. I would send them out for egg white protein powder. Tell them specifically what place that they could get it at, write it down on a sheet so they'd be in a situation where they wouldn't get, talked into something different, and they would go to the local supplement store, and the local supplement store would try to talk them out of the egg white protein into whey protein when they literally have no idea that the person has issues with dairy and they shouldn't be consuming whey, that the person will have issues with the sucralose that's in their product. And so I would get so frustrated with referring people to the local supplement stores because no matter what I would say, no matter what I would do, they would attempt to try to talk my client out of what I wanted them to have. And the clients would honestly get frustrated by the experience. They would say, it really was a terrible experience. I felt like I spent the entire time trying to tell the person why I didn't want their product and why I did want the product that you told me to get. And the odd thing was they sold the product I told them to get. So this wasn't, it wasn't as if I was asking, for a product that, they didn't believe in, because if they didn't believe in it, then why would they sell it? It's just that the other product that they have, they apparently believed in more, and more than likely it was certainly a highly profitable product for them, so it just made more sense for them to convert them from here to here. But over the years, I basically just got fed up and just more or less said I'm no longer sending people to the local supplement stores. So I got to a point where our gyms that I would work out of would have to sell products. So I'd have to send people to places like Whole Foods. And then I met O'Fallon Nutrition. I stepped into O'Fallon Nutrition. I saw what they do. I saw how they do it and realized that they do it in a way, almost the way we do fitness, so they really work towards helping someone improve their health. It isn't just about, product, the next fad product. It isn't just about fat burning. It isn't just about bodybuilding. When you walk into O'Fallon Nutrition, there's a library of books you can buy. That's for starters. Then there's an entire section just for digestive health and enzymes and probiotics and so many different things just to improve your digestive health. And then as you go down, there's different oils, there's seeds, there's nuts, there's grass-fed beef, different types of meat, all sorts of grocery items like salad dressings, marinara sauce, salsa, different seasonings, and just ways of basically cooking food without having to drive all the way into Clayton and go to a large grocery store that will have those items, of which I think those grocery stores are great, but just to be able to have something local is fantastic. Now, that's not to say if you're not near O'Fallon Nutrition that it isn't a good idea, because they have so much to offer. In addition to that, you'll walk over on the other side and then you'll be able to buy deodorant, you'll be able to buy makeup, you'll be able to buy skincare, and then your collagen protein, all the vitamins and minerals that you could think of. Supplementation, John gets all of his supplements from there. So there's just so much to offer. I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe they're the best supplement store in this region, in the Midwest, because they care about a person's health. The staff is so knowledgeable. They do not work off commission. And I'll repeat, they do not work off commission, so they will not try to sell you a product that doesn't make sense for you. And what's been so great about it is that things that I'm not experienced with, I can send them down there and say, just go in there and ask them if they've dealt with something like this. And I mean, almost always they will have heard of this or heard of that, or they have research programs in their, at their location where they can actually reference, here's what you would take and here's how much of it you would take. It's a fantastic place. If you have not visited O'Fallon Nutrition, they are at the corner of Mexico Road and Highway K. And they're right before you get to Highway K, just kind of right there in that little corridor with the Walmart, and then there's the car wash, and then there's the Quick Trip across the street. It's O'FallonNutrition.com for information, maybe to ask about a specific product that they have that you'd like to see, or to have an order shipped if you're not local. They ship free if it's $50 or over. You can call them at 636-240-5283. Again, that's O'FallonNutrition.com. So ever since the holidays, I work with folks and do nutrition coaching. I also do personal training, and then of course I own a fitness center, so I manage a staff of trainers. I work with the trainers' clients. I work on just owning the facility and keeping up a facility. So I wear a lot of hats on a daily basis, but a nutrition coach is kind of one of my biggest hats. I'm the only person in our gym that does nutrition. We really like for there to be a dual layer of accountability when it comes to nutrition. So if you come in to do personal training, your personal trainer is going to train you. They represent the positive energy of coming in and getting a great workout every single week. I represent nutrition. So you have that dual layer of accountability of someone who's telling you what to eat, when to eat it, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, what you should be drinking, any vitamins and minerals you should be taking. Then you have someone over here that's holding you responsible for your stretching, your foam rolling, and your regular exercise. The beauty of that is if you fail on your food, you don't have to face your trainer 3 times a week and have to present to them that you failed with your food, and they don't represent anything but positive energy. When you come in to see me, if you failed on your food, you'll have an enclosed environment, a private environment where you can be open and you can tell me, I made a mistake. I've been struggling. I'm not having, the same, I'm not having the same luck that I was having before. I need help. This is a confessional room, and it's a private room, and it's a place where you have someone that you can trust that's going to keep those items private as well. So having that other layer of accountability, you can come in with that trainer and they don't have to know anything about how you're eating. And then you can come in and meet with someone specifically that can know the ins and outs of how you eat. And you can find that you have that one person that you can trust with that. And it's often hard to really truly be honest with someone about how you're eating and any mistakes or anything maybe that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. So since Christmas, in doing my nutrition coaching, one of the most common things I've been hearing is and I just have a hard time saying it without, getting a big smile on my face. And if Roger was here, he would be like, oh boy, because he'd see that smile and know I'm about ready to say what I'm about ready to say. But people would say, I think I've hit a plateau. And so I would say, really? Why is that? Well, I stopped losing weight. Okay, well, for how long? Well, it's been 2 weeks and I haven't lost any weight. Oh boy. Okay, so 2 weeks and no weight loss and you've officially hit a plateau. So what I'll do is I'll really try to identify. I'll say, okay, break out your day for me. Tell me the exact times that you're eating and tell me exactly what you're eating during those times. And as they start going down the list, I'll say, oh, did you forget that we were supposed to measure that when you eat that? And they'll say, I haven't been measuring it. Okay, so you haven't been measuring your meat every day? No, I haven't. You think maybe you're having too much, or you think maybe you're having too little. It wouldn't matter either way. Both of those could stop the weight loss process. And then I'll say, have you been making sure that you have the fat source in your meal every single day? You know what? There's been quite a few times when I forgot to add the olive oil, or I forgot to add the avocado, or I forgot to cook it in this, or I forgot to do this for the fat. Okay, well, not having enough fat would definitely cause your weight to slow down as well. You know what? I used to eat fruit for breakfast, or I used to eat fruit for lunch, and then I've been forgetting it. I haven't had the time to prepare it because the holidays were so busy and haven't gotten back into my pattern. So I forgot to add that. Okay, well, that was part of your carbohydrate source. So there's there's something missing. All those components can add up and they can end up causing you to stop losing weight the way that you were before, or cause you to stop feeling as much energy as you had before, or as positive of digestion as you were having before, or maybe you'll feel more inflamed, just because you're not getting all of those things in there. So if you're on track and you haven't caused any of those gaps, you should still be losing weight. But when we find that I haven't been measuring, I keep forgetting my fat, oh shoot, I'm not even having my one carbohydrate, throughout the day like I'm supposed to through the fruit, and I'm only getting my carbohydrates from vegetables, and my body was kind of accustomed to being able to have that, so I bet that's caused me to have a response. An even better thing is, well, I haven't been drinking my water like I should. Therefore, are you constipated? Yes, I have been constipated. Well, let me tell you, that's going to slow your weight down. So these are some really basic reasons why someone would hit a plateau, okay? Or I keep forgetting to have my afternoon snack. I get too busy and I don't have the time, so I don't get my afternoon snack in. Well, that could cause an issue too. And then next thing I know, I'm hungry after dinner. Well, the reason you're hungry after dinner is because you're missing your afternoon snack. So you're grabbing things that you shouldn't be grabbing after dinner, and which you were not doing for the first 3 months of changing your food. Now you've hit the plateau because you're randomly bringing things in right before bed that you weren't bringing in. And most people don't understand what that should be if you're going to bring something in. So they bring in carbohydrates, which is a really bad decision. But even so, bringing something in that late could really slow things down, because when you bring food in right before bed, you're basically telling yourself when you lay down for all the blood to go to your stomach and for it to start working on breaking that food down. And what happens is the metabolic process doesn't actually end up happening the way it was happening before, because you were not eating right before you went to bed. So that's something that you have to take into consideration, and by all means could cause a plateau, which is, I suppose, probably my least favorite word in the world. There's probably others that I have that I don't like as much, but I probably like plateaus so little because of all the years of people wanting to use that as their reason for why they're not doing well. And they often just don't want to look at the fact that I stopped drinking my water, I stopped measuring my food, I stopped adding olive oil to my food, I stopped eating it in the order like I'm supposed to eat it. Those are usually your first and primary reasons for hitting a plateau. After the holidays, swelling is going to take time. A lot of people will have a histamine response from the foods that they had during the holidays. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you had to have absolute garbage, but maybe you're having foods that you're just not accustomed to having. That histamine response sometimes can take a couple weeks to really work down on you. If you're ever curious about that, just message me. I'll show you face pictures of me. I can take a face picture on Monday and take a face picture on Friday, and I look like I lost 5 pounds and I didn't eat anything, that I shouldn't have had. In fact, this week I had an allergic reaction to chicken. And if you would have saw a picture of me on Monday, you would have thought I had cake on Sunday. And then if you would have saw a picture of me on Friday, even Saturday, even one of my trainers here messaged me yesterday and said, Debbie, you look a lot leaner today. Have you lost weight? I said, well, I have no idea. I don't weigh, but I guarantee I've lost some weight because I'm not having the same histomatic response on Friday that I was having on Monday, because I had a major allergic response on Monday. A lot of people are having those allergic responses and they don't even realize it. They're eating dairy over the weekend, they're eating corn, they're eating soy, they're eating pork, they're eating peanuts, they're eating all of these high histamine producing foods, also foods that are injected with poison, and they're not realizing why they feel so swollen throughout the week. Understand that that's not a plateau. That's called swelling. And that means that instead of eating your chicken at the safe places that you're used to eating, which for me, whenever I would eat chicken, I would make the Bear brand chicken at home, and I randomly decided to have it at a local restaurant, and my face was swollen by the time I left the parking lot. I had a lot of issues because of it. I even missed a day's work this week, and I really don't miss work. I try to avoid missing work at all costs. So it's not always a plateau. It's a response in some cases from the food that you're having. So that's something that you really need to take into consideration. Now, the biggest thing for me is this, what I'm about to talk about. Over the years in working with people, this is what I see the most, okay? It's easy to keep small items in and not realizing that they're holding you back. So let's say the holidays, you kind of got into the habit of, well, they have that peppermint mocha thing at Starbucks. So it's 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm going to let myself have it. It's, it's a treat. It's Christmas time. Okay, maybe that's great for you and maybe that works for you. But it's the third week of January and you're still not losing weight because you are continuing to have the peppermint mocha that is still at Starbucks. And remember, for 3 months you didn't have it. You were losing weight every single week. Okay, so just understand that. And this doesn't have to just be about weight loss. It could be about health improvement. You were not having that syrup. You were not having, that all the ingredients, the dairy and everything that was in that. And now you're suddenly having it and you're starting to have breakouts on your skin, inflammation in your joints, gut issues, eczema, just different problems, and you're not being able to identify why are these problems starting to come back. Well, because you slipped some new things in, and maybe you got away with it the first 2 times, but you're not getting away with it the 20th time. So a couple of those things that people will add in, and they'll kind of not want to blame it on that. They'll want to blame it on a plateau, and they'll think, well, it's only on occasion, but the reality is that occasion can still slow you down. So coffee drinks, dark chocolate. People always seem to think that adding dark chocolate in the afternoon is going to be okay and they're still going to lose weight with that. But I'm sorry, it really can cause your plateau that you think that you're having. So healthy desserts, this is a big one. Christmas time, people get the keto cookbook out. And this is great. I'm glad that they do that. And they make a healthy dessert. So instead of having garbage dessert that's filled with a bunch of junk, they go ahead and make a really creative, healthy dessert, but they eat it in abundance. Even my muffins that we sell here at the gym, or all the different healthy recipes I have in my most current cookbook. The reality is that if weight loss is truly your goal, you can't have 3 of those every single day and plan to lose weight. You probably could have 3 of those every day and not gain weight and stay sustained, but you're probably not going to lose any weight if you're having 3 of those a day. You got to take those things into consideration. So those healthy desserts that you started kind of making to take to parties around the holidays, you can't keep making them if you're still trying to lose weight. Or if you're in a position where you have an allergy to dairy, you can't keep making things with cheese. You can't keep making things with cream cheese. I don't care if it's keto or not. The reality is you don't do well with dairy, so you need to make sure that you don't have the dairy. So that's something to consider. It's not just that you added those in, it's also that your body's having a response. It doesn't just have to be in relation to weight loss. It could be in relation to health improvement, and realizing that if you have those ingredients, you're going to have a response to those ingredients, and potentially that response could be lingering on well into the first of the year here, and that's why you feel like you're at a plateau, all right? Other things, cheese or bread, like I just said, cheese. Cheese is one of those things around the holidays that people are like, I'm going to add a little cheese. All right, well, if you haven't been having dairy, I can guarantee you're having a histamine response, because dairy is the highest histamine producing food that you can have. There is none higher. You cannot have a higher histamine producing food. I know that you think that it's peanuts and shellfish, but they're actually lower from a histamine building perspective than dairy. So if you randomly started adding cheese in and your menstrual cycle has started to get thrown off, guess what? You're having hormones in that cheese that you were not used to having, and it is honestly affecting your menstrual cycle. For those males, for the male clients, if you feel like, you've been a little bit edgier, a little bit more emotional, you're probably building some more estrogen than what you thought. Adding dairy will do that. Adding dairy every now and again, probably not going to do that. Adding dairy fairly consistently, it's very likely that will cause your weight loss plateau, but it's also very likely that it'll cause a health plateau. Start the breakouts again, start the joint pain, start the gut aches and the different issues with your gut. There's going to be a random person that's going to be okay with it and they're not going to have a response, but not very many. So if you feel like you're suffering from a plateau, I promise it's probably not that. It's that you decided to bring dairy in and you hadn't had dairy in, or maybe even if it was gluten-free, you decided to start having bread and you had not been having bread prior to. Okay, so these are all things you have to take into consideration. Another one would be just sugar, just allowing yourself to have sugar. If you got yourself to a point to where you were committed to not having sugar and you were doing that for an extended period of time, and then the holidays came and then you made the decision that you were going to start having sugar again, and you were going to do that on occasion just to be able to enjoy your way through the holidays, if you're still having sugar and it's after the first of the year, I don't care if it's once a week, I can guarantee you that's your weight loss plateau. plateau. The combination of the sugar and the coffee drinks and the dark chocolate and the healthy desserts that you're cooking and the cheese and the bread and the alcohol, the occasional drink that you've decided to start bringing in there, which you were never having before. You were not drinking before, and now you're suddenly bringing drinks in a couple of times a week. Alcohol is like estrogen. So it's going to build estrogen, it converts to estrogen. It's going to build estrogen in your system, but it's also going to blow up your blood sugar. It's going to cause you to have an insulin response. It's like liquid gasoline. It's going to cause you to have a histamine response. If you think you're having a weight loss plateau and you've started to add alcohol, you're having an alcohol plateau. So you really need to take that into consideration. And if you're working with some type of coach and they're trying to give you macros to allow alcohol in there and they're helping you to lose weight by drinking alcohol, good for them, but I'm not your coach because I don't do that. So I'm not going to give you poison and just because it fits into some type of macronutrient profile, allow you to continue to have that poison. I'm not going to be stupid and think that people are going to go the rest of their life without drinking either. But I'm also going to tell you that nothing about the alcohol that you're drinking is healthy. And maybe there's new versions of wine out there that's improved, and it certainly does have a better source, and it's coming from a better source and has better quality ingredients in it, but it also still has alcohol in it. So no matter what, you can't get away from the fact that it has alcohol in it. Now, the other and last thing I'll say that people kind of sneak in and they don't realize it is quick foods. Just convenience foods. I didn't have time, so, ever since the holidays, I was rushing around. I just went ahead and grabbed a protein bar. Okay? We weren't eating protein bars before. Very few people lose weight on protein bars, just so you know. They're very high in fructose. Even the cleanest versions that don't have carbohydrates like oatmeal and rice in them, even the cleanest ones are still filled with dates and figs and more fruit. It's a very high fructose food, and it's just really going to make it difficult for you to lose weight. So if you're throwing protein bars in kind of out of the blue when you weren't having them before, that's your protein bar plateau. It's not a weight loss plateau. It's that you're adding something in that you were not having before. Drinks, which I've already talked about, coffee drinks, but fruity drinks. You got kind of tired of your water over the holidays because you experienced a little bit of sugar and you decided that you want to continue to have sugar on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe your water just doesn't taste good anymore because you got to have a few drinks over the holidays that made you happy. You start bringing in some of those drinks that are artificially sweetened, and if they're full of sucralose and they're full of fructose, you're going to have a fructose-sucralose plateau, not a weight loss plateau. If you get back on your food and you get back at it at the consistency level at which you were before, you watch your sauces, you make your seasoning, you don't try to go to Bandanas and eat their barbecue sauce, go there and eat their meat. But if you eat their barbecue sauce, you're going to hit your plateau because the barbecue sauce is filled with junk. So if you really want to, make your own barbecue sauce. Bring the barbecue sauce in there. But I'm telling you, when you look at the ingredients on something, as soon as you see high fructose corn syrup, you need to start packing your bags and go in the other direction. That's your plateau. You're walking towards a plateau with that sauce that you're adding. So just to summarize that, coffee drinks, dark chocolate, healthy desserts that you're making, cheese and bread, alcohol, sweets, quick foods like protein bars, and then drinks, any type of drink that you enjoy. Not so much alcohol, but just like the fruity, flavorful drinks. Those are all reasons and all things that will cause a plateau. Now, if you've struggled after the holidays and you're saying, okay, Deb, you're right. I have done these things. I have added these things. And, I'm regretting it now because I'm really starting to feel the effects because I've had these things. And if you need help and you're struggling and you can't get yourself back into that track, very simple fix. And this isn't just an advertisement. I'm telling you, do this for a week and it will get you out of the situation that you're in, and it will get you into a situation where you're feeling better and your brain is better. You can make better choices and you'll feel good enough to start prepping your food again. Go to a place like Pure Plates and have them prep your food for the week. Pure Plates specifically, I would trust because most of their food is organic and they're also going to be clean. They're going to be soy free. If you need them dairy free, they will be dairy free. They will be gluten free. They'll be sugar free. They don't throw bad artificial sweeteners in any of their foods. If I can eat at Pure Plates, anyone can eat at Pure Plates. But if you're struggling to get yourself right back into the zone, go get a week's worth of food from there. Literally, get your breakfast there, your snack there, your lunch there, your snack there, your dinner there. Do it for 7 days. And then you're going to be in a better place. You're going to be less swollen. You're going to be committed. You will have made a commitment to a new schedule. Then start prepping your food the next week and maybe just get Pure Plates for lunchtime. If you struggle with that and you really need some help, go to Pure Plates, pureplatesstl.com. They have a location in down in Chesterfield. They also have a location in Kirkwood, right across the street from the Magic House. For information about Pure Plates, give them a call at 636-778-3555. They will deliver to your house. They will also deliver to our Integrity location every week. This is just easy, guys. This is a way out of this situation. You feel like you hit a plateau and it's because you're not motivated and you're not making the stuff the way you should, go to a place like Pure Plates. Now, another reason for someone hitting a plateau and they don't line it up is that they don't have the same level of activity that they had before. So maybe they just completely, had like 2 weeks because of the holidays where they didn't do cardio. They didn't do one session of cardio, not 1 minute of cardio. So you didn't actually hit a plateau. You just stopped working out, or maybe you have gone into the gym and you've taken the time to do your weight training, but you haven't taken the time to do your cardio. Maybe you've gone to the gym and you've taken time to do your cardio, but you haven't taken the time to do your weight training. I'm telling you, this adds up. So you really have to factor in, have I changed my activity level? And could that be the reason why I'm hitting a plateau right now? If you are used to having a very active job, and you took 2 weeks off for Christmas and you no longer have that active job, and instead of going to the gym 5 days a week, you went to the gym 3 days a week, you just lowered your activity level significantly. Well, if you didn't lower your caloric intake, you're going to be in a position where you're going to think you hit a plateau, when really what you did was you just changed your activity level and you didn't change your caloric intake. So you've got to take those things into consideration. If let's say you injured something, maybe you sprained an ankle, okay, and you haven't been able to work out for 2 weeks. Well, you really need to make sure you are on point with your food. This is not the time to have a cheat meal. This is in no way, shape, or form the time to have a cheat meal. That's your plateau. It's not because the food isn't working for you. It's because the whole design of your activity based around that food isn't working for you anymore, and that's changed. I've worked with farmers before, and I have to feed them differently in the wintertime than I feed them in the summertime or in the springtime. Their harvest time is a completely different time than the seed, the plant, the seed germination time, where the seeds are actually growing and they're working more inside, and they're not going to be as physically active. Their food needs to change. But then when it's summertime and they're sweating, and everything is different, then the food needs to change there too. So if they ate in the wintertime what they eat in the summertime, they would hit a plateau as well, and they might even gain weight. So just hopefully that makes sense for you. So just adjust the calories as you're adjusting those. And I don't mean to just say calories, because I hate chasing calories. So I'm going to take that back. I'm going to pretend I didn't even just say the word calorie. But adjust your food according to how active you are. So if you have a sweet potato every day for lunch because you're on your way to the gym at 3 o'clock every day, great. But if you don't go to the gym at 3 o'clock every day, do you really need to have that glycogen building carbohydrate? Are you going to use that glycogen? Is it necessary for you to take that in? Probably not in most cases. Some people have such active metabolisms that if they don't take it in, they're going to lose too much weight. Well, you're not the one complaining about being at a plateau then. So if anything, you're going to complain about losing too much weight and you need to put more weight on. And then I'm going to have to make sure you eat more. Adjusting your calories to have what would be considered like an overfeed day. That's sort of like the bodybuilding terminology of growing, your food at least once a week, just to kind of build the metabolism and kind of make it more active. I especially believe in this if someone does intermittent fasting. I truly believe that it's beneficial to maybe do 5 days in intermittent fasting and then 2 days not, or 5 or 6 days and then 1 day not. Just have 1 day where your calories are a little bit more increased. And it's not just calories in, calories out, but balance the nutrients that you take in. Have the right amount of carbs, the right amount of fats, the right amount of proteins, but just increase that ever so slightly. So for one day out of the week, instead of having 2 eggs for breakfast, have 3 eggs for breakfast. If you're an intermittent faster, have breakfast that day instead of not having breakfast. Just give your body that little bit of a bump where you've just increased the calories just to kind of metabolically challenge the body to have to work hard at breaking that down. Now, I've always made my sort of overfeed per se day a day where I'm going to be very active. So if you'll see me, I normally fast during the week. So you usually don't see me eating at like 9 o'clock, for any reason. But on Saturdays, I get up at 4:30 every Saturday, and I, have a day where I don't leave my gym until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Last night, I didn't even leave here until 8 o'clock. And I got a workout in. I got an hour-long workout in during that timeline as well. And I still have to go home and do a considerable amount of chores at my house. Every night I have at least 1.5 to 2 hours worth of chores I have to do every single night. So whatever I do here, I go home and do that. So Saturdays are my day. I eat at 9 a.m. every Saturday. Any other day I eat at noon. So I bring that extra meal in, and then I eat again at around 12. I eat again at around 3. I eat again at around 6. And that's usually about when I'm done. Sometimes it's around 7 that I'll eat, but that's my Saturday. So Sunday I get up and I don't eat until after church. So we go to Cooper's Hawk. We went to Cooper's Hawk today, and I didn't get there until 11:30. They didn't really bring the food out to the table until probably 10 to 12. So that's when I ate. So I don't overfeed myself on Sundays. I just do it on Saturdays. That works very well for me. If you're a male and you're really trying to put weight on, or even a female that's really trying to put weight on, maybe you would do that twice a week. Even if you're trying to lose weight, I would still suggest on that hyperactive day, breaking the fast and adding an extra meal or increasing the size of your meals ever so slightly. Just 1 more ounce of protein, an extra cup of vegetables, just build it just slightly. Focus on quality foods. If you really truly feel like you've hit a plateau, the plateau might be that, you just had like a really busy, couple months, and you've had to go through the drive-thrus a little bit more than you'd like. Now you're making the right choices when you go through the drive-thru, but you've had to go through a little bit more often than you'd like to. Maybe get your focus back, start preparing, start going to Pure Plates, start getting some things from O'Fallon Nutrition. Don't settle for the sauces that they have because they're filled with garbage. Go and get those sauces from O'Fallon Nutrition. Do some of those types of things. This could really make the difference. Change up your cardio routine. So if your cardio routine is just HIIT every day of the week, that's not always a good idea. Doing HIIT 6 days a week, change it up a little bit. Do HIIT 4 days a week and do steady state cardio 2 days a week. Just change it up. Just make the modification. Maybe your body would appreciate the fact that 2 days out of the week, maybe on your biggest weight training days, like your leg days or your leg day, or whatever is your biggest weight training day, decide that I'm not going to do HIIT cardio on that day. I'm just going to get on the treadmill and I'm going to let my lymphatic system drain. I'm not even going to do an incline. I'm just going to walk, and I'm not going to try to get a pump from this cardio. I'm just going to really work on getting my system, kind of not so bound up and getting my lymphatic system working properly. So that's an option. Switch up that cardio routine. That could make a really big difference. Don't overeat on protein. This is so common. Protein converts the glucose just like carbs do. So don't overconsume on protein. It's really easy when it's like, well, I've been measuring out and I've been having 3 ounces or 4 ounces or 5 ounces or 6 ounces. And then all of a sudden you stop measuring, and next thing you know, you're having 5, 6, 7, 8 ounces when you were having 3, 4, 5 ounces. Trust me, it's going to make a difference. It's not a weight loss plateau. It is a protein plateau. You're over consuming. And you've got to be careful with that. Just because the guy at the supplement store told you that you needed to have a protein shake after your workout doesn't mean you need to have a protein shake after your workout. And guess what? You stopped losing weight once you started having the protein shake after your workout. Now understand that protein is still calories. So you don't have to overconsume protein, and your body is only going to break so much protein down. I mean, for crying out loud, your intestines and your kidneys, I mean, they have to work at that. One time Sophie went out to eat with her a family member, and she had meat, at dinner, and then they went back, and for dessert they made a smoothie, and she got a really bad stomach ache, and she came home. I mean, she was having a hard time moving because her stomach was just in total lockdown. Well, when they made the smoothie, they made 1 scoop chocolate, 1 scoop vanilla, so that was 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of protein. And then she had already had about 25 grams of protein because she eats a lot of meat when she eats. So she had a horrible stomach ache because she just was all bound up. She just had too much protein in too short a period of time. But that would be an easy mistake to make because you're thinking, this is all good, healthy food. I'm not, I'm having a protein shake. This is okay. It's still protein. It still has to be digested. It still has to be broken down by the body. You don't want to overconsume it. You really need to look into protein and understand that it too much is not a good thing. So don't overconsume on it. And just because you had a workout, that doesn't mean that you have to go walking out the gym with a piece of chicken in your hand. Eat when it's appropriate and eat when you can after your workout and get your calories in. But don't sit there and feel like you have to be addicted to protein powder in order to be able to gain muscle or in order to be able to lose weight. Protein powder is a convenient source of protein. That is why you should do a protein shake, is out of convenience. It does have amino acids in it, but so does meat. Meat has amino acids in it. And whey protein is derived from milk fat. So if you're using whey protein, but you have issues with dairy, you have to take that into consideration. If you don't have issues with dairy, do whey protein. Understand if it's non-organic whey protein, that's like having non-organic dairy. At some point, it is going to affect your hormones. It's going to affect your skin. It's going to affect your gut. It's going to affect your estrogen levels. It's going to affect you in some way if you're going to continue to consume non-organic dairy. So really take that into consideration when you're making choices with a protein shake. I'm not going to get off on a tangent about what protein shakes you should have, but I am going to tell you that having too much protein in a day is not a weight loss plateau. It is a choice, and you've made a choice to decide to overconsume on protein. And it is an ingredient that converts to glucose just like everything else. It's a macronutrient that will convert to glucose the same way that carbs will. And you also will struggle to break it down if you're overconsuming on that. So just be really careful with that. Lack of sleep. That's one of the biggest plateaus I'll see is people don't sleep. I mean, they just do not sleep. And I get it. I work a lot. I understand. I have nights where I don't sleep and I'm swollen the next day. But I don't walk around saying I'm having a weight loss plateau or that my food's not working for me anymore. It's because I didn't go to sleep the night before. And maybe I didn't go to sleep because there was an emergency situation, or maybe I didn't go to sleep because I got too busy on my phone. I got too busy on my computer. I got too busy watching something with my family. You know what I mean? All valid reasons, but I can't complain the next day that my weight's up by 1.5 pounds because I know I'm going to be swollen if I don't get at least 7 hours sleep. That's my life. My lymphatic system will not work properly if I don't get 7 hours sleep. Now, trust me, there's plenty of nights that I don't, but I'm reminding you that I don't walk around saying I've hit a plateau, nor do I even weigh myself to even know, but I know when I'm swollen. Lack of sleep means that your body is not regenerating the new cells that it needs to. Your energy in your cells it's not there. You're not producing new cellular energy. It's so important. Your liver starts to really relax and it gets to calm down while you're sleeping. Your kidneys, everything gets a break while you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping and you've suddenly changed that schedule and it's been the past 2 to 3 weeks and you haven't been getting the right amount of sleep, you didn't hit a weight loss plateau. You hit a you're not going to sleep plateau and you're staying swollen. So get the right amount of sleep and get your food in properly, measuring everything, not taking all the extras in. I guarantee you'll start losing weight again. Now, there is also something to take into consideration, which we're going to do an entire show on this, so I'm not going to go off on a tangent. You often hear a lot of people talk about overtraining. And I kind of hate that word just as much as I hate weight loss plateaus. I just really feel like people like to. I've worked with a lot of elite athletes in my lifetime, and I've learned that those athletes don't look the way that they look, and they don't perform the way that they perform because they work out like everybody else on bodybuilding.com or out of Oxygen magazine or out of whatever. They look like that because they really put time in on it. They put time in on their food prep, they put time in on their stretching, they put time in on their foam rolling, on their mobility, going to a massage therapist, doing cryotherapy. They put time in the gym. And they really do the workouts. I mean, I've heard Arnold Schwarzenegger speaking himself saying, that he would spend 5 hours at a time in a gym. And I just would love to see the same people that talk about people overtraining right now. I would love to see them go to Arnold and tell him that he was overtraining back then. There's a reason for it and there's a reason not for it. And when I think of overtraining, I think of someone who truly is not functioning properly. Maybe they have adrenal fatigue. Maybe they have hormone imbalances. Maybe they're overworking themselves so much that the body is just continually staying swollen. And when that happens, you've got to take a rest. And everyone should have an effective weekly rest day. And if you've taken that rest day out and you're just overdoing it in the gym, and you can really feel yourself feeling a fatigue that you sincerely have not felt before, and it's something that almost feels like a sickness, like a chronic fatigue, then you really need to take that into consideration. And instead of just stopping the training, what I would suggest doing is take some days off. Maybe take an entire week off and don't exercise for that week and just stretch and foam roll and get a couple massages, go to the float spa, do some cryotherapy, and then the next week go right back at it. And I bet you will just bust through any form of a plateau that you thought you were having. But don't think that it's okay to not take a rest day. It's not okay. You've got to take a rest day, if not two, every day of the week. But if someone's telling you you're overtraining, take it like a seed. Don't let it get planted in you. Pay attention to your body. You don't have to take advice from everybody that wants to give it. But if you do hire someone as a trainer, you probably should take their advice because you've hired them. You've invested in them. Make the choice that you're going to follow who you've decided to follow. It's very difficult to eat the way I tell you to eat, but then to go out there and listen to so-and-so on this forum and so-and-so on this forum and implement a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but still expect my program to work for you. And it's really difficult for someone to come in and train a little bit with one of my trainers, but then they've got a trainer down the street and then they have a trainer over here and everybody's telling them to do something completely different. It's going to be really hard to get exactly where you want to go. Find a path and then follow it and really stay committed to it. And I guarantee you'll start to see some results. You really will. I mean, really makes a difference when you trust in the person that you're working with and you trust in the process that they've set out for you. You can make mistakes. You can fail. You can do all kinds of stuff. You don't have to be defeated by that. You don't have to stop working with them. And that doesn't have to mean that the program's not working anymore. It just means that you're going to be in a position where you're just getting back on track again. But if you're trying to follow too many paths at one time, the only thing I can tell you is that is a recipe for a great plateau, and you're going to stay in a plateau. It's just also a recipe for failure. Now, last week in my podcast, I shared a section of the book Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willink. And it's Jocko, Jocko, Willink, Willink. And if you go out to Amazon, I benefit in no way by selling his books. I just think they're excellent books. But if you go out to Amazon, he has some excellent books. And Discipline Equals Freedom, the field manual is one of the best ones, but in my opinion. But he really has some great books. And I want to read this because at the end, I just want to I want to finish a little bit on this note. But I'm going to read this out to you guys. It's titled Mind Control. When people think of the words mind control, they think of people controlling the minds of other people, not me. I think about controlling my own mind. Sure, we are physical beings and we must obviously embrace our physicality, but we are our minds. And I'm not going to go physiological on you on what that means and where you actually is, whether it is soul or your brain or your heart or some other conjured up place. What I do know is this: your mind, the thing that is reading and comprehending these words right now, that is you, and you can control it. You are the machine, and you can control it. People ask me, and this is a great part, this is the part that I really appreciate about this, just from being a trainer for as long as I've been and being a nutrition coach for as long as I've been, because I have a very similar mentality as him, and it's just refreshing for me to feel like I have someone that I can follow and that is kind of leading me, because I finally feel like I'm not the only person that thinks like this. I feel like I'm able to see that there's someone that takes a very similar approach. But he says, people ask me, how do I get tougher? Be tougher. How can I wake up early in the morning? Wake up early. How can I work out consistently every day? Work out consistently every day. How can I stop eating sugar? Stop eating sugar. You can even control your emotions. How can I stop missing that girl or guy, whoever broke up with me? Stop missing them. You have control over your mind. You just have to assert it. I love that so much. You have to decide that you are going to be in control, that you are going to do what you want to do. Weakness does not have a vote. That is my favorite line in the entire thing. Weakness does not have a vote. Laziness doesn't get a vote. Sadness doesn't get a vote. Frustration doesn't get a vote. Negativity doesn't get a vote. Your temper doesn't get a vote. So next time you're feeling weak or lazy or soft or emotional, tell those feelings they don't get a vote. Gosh, it makes such a difference. You know, people want to use weakness as their excuse or their reason for why they can't succeed. And people speak weakness into their day every single day. And I realize that not everybody can be strong 24 hours a day. I realize that you're going to come to me and you're going to talk to me about your weaknesses, but the reality is if you spend your entire day talking about how sick you feel, how tired you feel, how fat you feel, how lazy you are, how sugar addicted you are, that is basically the cycle you're going to consistently stay in. So you will make a commitment to that's who you are, that's who you've been, and that's who you're going to be, and that's who you're going to stay, because that's what you've set your mind towards. Break it. Life doesn't have to be perfect to break it. You can just tell yourself the opposite. I'm an overcomer. I'm going to find opportunity in this difficulty. You know, talk to yourself differently. Weakness doesn't have to be an option. You want to figure out how to get into the gym every week? Get into the gym every week. Sit down, make it an appointment, and get to the gym every week. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for you. And even if you hired Jocko Willink to be your coach, at the end of the day, you still have to go home. You have to go home and be the one that implements this. You have to go home and be the one that implements anything I suggest. Any opinion I give you based off of what you paid me for, you're the one that has to go home and implement it. So it doesn't necessarily benefit you to continually admit the weaknesses over and over and over again, or to whine about them, or to complain about them. Get out of that. Get out of being in that position where it's like, oh, my weight slowed down. Oh, I hit a plateau. No, you didn't. Stop eating chocolate every day. Stop drinking alcohol every day. Stop doing the quick foods that you weren't doing before the first of the year, like the protein bars and the fancy drinks. Stop going to Starbucks and getting the fancy drink. Go there and get the coffee that you were getting before the first of the year. Stop doing these things. That's your plateau. And don't use a plateau as an excuse. There are times where you could be hitting a plateau and you want to use things like the overfeed. You want to use things like proper sleep. You want to use things like, getting the correct amount of calories based off of the correct amount of output. You want to use things like managing the amount of workouts you're doing as to the amount of rest that you're getting. Those are the things you want to use to break a plateau. But you've got to, on your own, not use a plateau as a reason when you know you've brought alcohol in on a regular basis. You've been having dark chocolate every afternoon. You're not measuring your food anymore. You're starting to drink things you weren't drinking before. This is the problem, all right? So weakness doesn't get a vote. It does not have to get, it doesn't even have to be part of your day. You can brainwash yourself into believing something good about yourself. If you're ever not sure, just read the Bible. There's lots of positive energy in that book. God is very clear about how he feels about you and how he wants you to live your day in and day out. Today, I always try to take a little bit from the sermon that I get at St. Louis Family Church with Pastor Jeff Perry. And today, he said this last week, but I want to say it again. Choose not to be the person that finds difficulty in every opportunity. Choose to be the person that finds opportunity in every difficulty. Take the victim mentality and turn it into a victory mentality. Stop being a victim and start finding a way to prosper. Start finding a way to succeed and start talking about how you're going to lose the weight. Start talking about how you're going to get healthy. Start talking about the steps that you're taking in order to become healthy. If you're going to talk about anything, talk about what you're going to do and what you have done and how you're going to accomplish being better. Don't talk about how bad everything is all the time. God does according to the power that works within us. He gives us this power. What we do with it is up to us. So he's given us the power. He can only do what we're willing to do. And if we walk around every day and complain about being overweight, complain about being out of shape, complain about not having time, complain about not having a supportive family, all we're doing is defeating ourselves and getting ourselves absolutely nowhere. Weakness does not have to get a vote. So you can make the choice that weakness does not get the vote in this situation, and you will not allow it to lead you down a path of defeat and a path of destruction. And just make the decision that you're not going to speak that way about yourself anymore once and for all. And I guarantee you, things are going to start to change. I guarantee it. I was trying to see, I'm looking at this. Oh, I liked this. Let me just tell you this one last thing. Pastor Jeff said, hope is expectation in the faithfulness of God. So I would write the word hope on your mirror in the morning. Just big words, hope. And every time you look at hope, understand that if you have hope for a better day, every day as you begin your day, what you're doing is you're expecting and you're living in a state of expectation that God is going to be faithful. And he is. He is faithful. Every single section of the Bible shows where he's been faithful. And look at your life. Yes, there's been bad things that have come up, but there's also been miracles and there's been great blessings and there's been provision. And you've got to focus on those every day. Write down the word hope. I just challenge you. Write it in your car. Write it on your calendar. Write it on your mirror at home. Just the word hope. H-O-P-E. And every time you think of the word hope, expect God to be faithful. Every time you think about it, if you have hope for healthy living, if you have hope for being able to prepare your food, if you have hope for being able to find a trainer and get the right exercise in, you're expecting God's faithfulness because he's going to come in and he's going to create a clearing and you're going to start to be healthy and he's going to support you through it. Stand in faith and believe that God can assist you through this. Don't think it's too small of a thing. He will be faithful and he will help you. So I appreciate you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I certainly appreciate all of our sponsors on the podcast. One sponsor I have not mentioned yet, and everyone always asks me about my doctor and the doctor that I've gone to for over 10 years. His name is Dr. Richard Bligh. It's B-L-I-G-H. He takes care of all of my clients for hormone replacement therapy. They go there for stem cell therapy. They go there for glutathione injections, vitamin, injections. They go there for the NAD brain treatment. He has a whole list of cosmetic services that he does, but he's just my primary care physician. And so I go to him for anything I need, and I get remarkable service from him and my office. If you're looking for a new doctor, or you want someone that takes medicine to a proactive level where they're trying to be proactive with your health, take a look at Dr. Bly. It's Dr. Bly, BLIGHMD.com, or you can call his office at 314-994-1534. And for more information on getting a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers at Integrity Training Systems, this is a way to learn to stretch, a way to learn to foam roll, your opportunity to come in and identify what is weak on you and what we need to be strengthening with you. This is absolutely free. You can do it at our Clayton location or our O'Fallon, Missouri location. Take a look at us at integritytraininggroup.com, or to inquire more about our 5-month nutrition program that you would do with me, where I will teach you exactly what to eat, where to buy it from, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, what to do when you're traveling, what vitamins and minerals you should be taking, what you should be drinking. Everything's figured out for you. Finally, we're going to help you to change your lifestyle, not just achieve a goal. This is something that we can help you with. To inquire and get more information on that, again, you can take a look at us at integritytraininggroup.com, or you can call us at 636-299-2208. Thank you again for listening. God bless you all, and have a wonderful weekend.